Didn't Jesus declare all foods to be clean? This question is in reference to Mark 7:19 in the NIV, which says, "For it doesn't go into the heart, but into the stomach, and then out of his body." In saying this, Jesus declared all foods clean. Now look at the same verse in the King James. "Because it entereth not into his heart, but into his belly, and goeth out into the draught, purging all meats." The New King James says it this way: "Because it does not enter his heart, but his stomach, and is eliminated, thus purifying all foods." Notice that the phrase, "In saying this, Jesus declared all foods clean," is not present in the King James or the New King James. This is because it is a translator's note that was added by the translators of the NIV and a few other modern translations. If you look at the Greek text, you will not find that phrase anywhere. It's not present in any of the Greek manuscripts. It's an addition that was made by the translators. This actually really bothers me, because so many people are being misled to think these words are valid scripture, when in fact they are nothing more than someone's opinion. But because it is inserted into the body of the text instead of the footnotes, it gives the impression that it was actually part of the scriptures. This is quite a deception, and unfortunately many people have been misled by these 8 words. In saying this, Jesus declared all foods clean. However, even if that phrase was in the original text, it still would not mean that Yeshua declared all animals to be food. It simply says that all foods are clean. If you go by the biblical definition of food, you will see that pig, shrimp, crab, and rabbit, among many other things, are listed as unclean animals. This means they are not even to be considered as food. Just because it's in our grocery store today does not mean it was meant to be food by Yahweh. This is why the phrase, "Jesus declared all foods clean," is so confusing to people today, because they see pork in the grocery store and on the menu at the restaurant, and so they think it's food. However, these same people would probably not consider rat, dog, vulture, bat, lizard, or skunk to be food. The reason for this is because of conditioning and habituation. We have been programmed to think that certain things are food, when in reality they're not. We have become so familiar with seeing these items on the menu that we are comfortable with the idea of eating them. Did you know that rat is considered a delicacy in some countries? There's very little difference between the diet, lifestyle, and anatomy of a pig and a rat. They are both omnivores, they both live in filth, and will both eat anything, including their own young. They even eat feces. Their bodies are full of toxins, diseases, and parasites. There are actually great health risks in being a pig farmer, and they must take special precautions when they are around the pigs, like wearing masks and gloves and protective clothing. Many pig farms require their employees to shower after leaving the pig area because of the spread of disease is such high risk when working with these unclean animals. These are the same kinds of precautions that people would take when handling a rat. Now let's examine the context of Mark 7, and you will see how the claim that all animals are now clean does not even fit the context of that chapter. Then the Pharisees and some of the scribes came together to him, having come from Jerusalem. Now when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is, with unwashed hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands in a special way, holding to the tradition of the elders. When they came from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. And there are many other things which they have received and hold, like the washing of cups and pitchers, copper vessels, and couches. Then the Pharisees and the scribes asked him, "Why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands?" So we see right here from the context that Yeshua's teaching is in direct response to the Pharisees' claim that the disciples must wash their hands before eating bread. This is not a commandment from the scriptures, it's a tradition of the elders. Now listen to how Yeshua responds. He answered and said unto them, "Well did Isaiah prophesy of you, hypocrites, as it is written, This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, you hold to the tradition of men, the washing of pitchers and cups, and many other such things that you do." He said to them, All too well you reject the commandment of God that you may keep your tradition. He's telling the Pharisees that their hand-washing ritual is not based in the Scripture, and in fact is a rejection of the commandments. The entire context of Mark 7 is about eating bread with unwashed hands. Bread is already clean food, and there's nothing we need to do to make it clean. There are no special rituals or prayers that must be said to purify their bread, because it's clean by definition. For someone to teach and require that special rituals be done before eating actually borders on witchcraft, and the Messiah called them out on it. He goes on further to explain to the people what he is talking about. When he had called the multitude to himself, he said to them, "Hear me, everyone, and understand, there is nothing that enters a man from outside which can defile him, but the things which come out of him, those are the things which defile a man." But his disciples were a little confused about what he was saying, so they asked him to explain it to them. So he said to them, "Are you thus without understanding also? Do you not perceive that whatever enters a man from outside cannot defile him, because it does not enter his heart, but his stomach, and is eliminated, thus purifying all foods?" And he said, "What comes out of a man that defiles a man? For from within, out of the heart of men, proceedeth evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lewdness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All of these evil things come from within and defile a man." So he is saying that food is not what makes you unclean, even if you eat it with unwashed hands, because it just passes through your body. But the things that come out of your heart is what makes you defiled. To the Pharisees, cleanliness is the result of special rituals, but according to the Messiah, cleanliness is about having a pure heart. So, did Messiah declare all foods to be clean? No. The translators of certain modern Bibles made that declaration. Did Messiah declare all animals to be food? No. That's an assumption based on faulty interpretation. Is it wrong to wash your hands before we eat? No. It's perfectly fine to wash your hands before you eat, but don't think it's a magic ritual that will somehow make your food clean. All you are doing by washing your hands is getting the dirt and germs off.